Vinita Hariharan, public policy expert. Thank you to my guests for joining me on this edition of the Discourse. Vinita Hariharan, let me start the program with you first. It's been termed as iconic, has been termed as something that has been in the making for a few years now, and finally we have it before us. Your first reactions to the Women's Reservation Bill being passed by Parliament?
No, absolutely excited and thrilled to have this bill in place after 30 long years of waiting in Indian electoral history. I think it's truly iconic and truly historic a moment for us to all cherish, and it'll go into the history of electoral India, I think, forever. And getting a full majority in both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, that just shows that across the political spectrum, whatever their misgivings may be, they actually want and welcome this bill. And so, as we all know, the struggle that we've had to pass this bill ever since the first report was presented by Nurul Hassan in 1975. And then there was a report again in, I think, 1980. And then the successive governments could not somehow place it because various other priorities. And again, in 2010, it lapsed in the Lok Sabha. So finally, we have this now. And so I think it's going to become a really, really game changer for women representation in electoral politics, especially since women are very, very empowered today. It's not like the earlier days when, there was criticism that this could be, again, a backdoor kind of representation, and men would use this as a front face to have their voices heard in electoral, voices, but that's not the case today. So I think this government has been doing a lot of work since the last 10 years in empowering women in various aspects, starting with their safety, then their nutrition through the PM Poshan, and then their, health through various schemes like the Matritva Yojana Abhiyan and all of that, and improving the, maternity, mortality rate, by declining the maternity mortality rate. And we had a good, the outcome of the sex ratio also going up to 1020. So many such initiatives and outcomes we achieved in the for women empowerment. And then, of course, all the other, Jan Dhan Yojanas and the Mudra loans, which most of it are benefiting women. And then the Swachh Bharat mission, of course, with Izzat Ghars being, access to sanitation is a hugely important aspect in improving the health and hygiene of our rural women. So I think all of this has empowered women a lot, not only not only in the basic amenities, socially also. We had the abolition of the triple talaq, so empowering Muslim women greatly, and then economic empowerment also with the Startup India, Mudra loans, all of that. So now I think women are much more equipped to face electoral politics, and even they were a couple of years back, but now even more so. So therefore, this bill has come at the very right time, and for us to plunge into politics, and it'll actually bring in many, many more women voices to the forefront. I think definitely policy interventions and pushes definitely work well in empowering women from bottoms up as well. So, but it needs both a pull and a push, I would say, because we also need a lot of societal corrections even today, because politics as such is looked upon as a very, very unruly and a very, very turbulent kind of a career. So especially so for women. So women entering politics is not such an easy game for a woman. But then those women who actually opt to choose politics are extremely courageous, I would say, and going against the tide, because there are a lot of misnomers about politics and about the safety of women in politics. I think those kind of things have to really be improved in terms of making women feel safe in the political space. I think that is something that we need to work upon. And also about the general perception about politics as a career for an educated professional. So because I've also taken now steps into the political world, and there are a lot of voices coming against that and saying that it's not a space for somebody as educated as you, somebody who's done so much of education and entering the political space. Professionals do not have a space in politics. That's again a misnomer. That's going beyond gender though. But especially women professionals, I think that is again a space that needs to be inculcated in the political world. So I think these are two very soft interventions that are required, but they are nevertheless very, very relevant for women to actually climb up in the political ladder. But today there is a lot of recognition, there's a lot of space for women also on the other side of the coin, because of the kind of affirmative action that the governments take and that you're supposed to take. At least because of that, there is a lot of attention being given to women, and there's a lot of push being given to women. But it's not enough, I would say. There needs to be much more empowerment and push given to women, because even today in the core political arena, women, like Sir was just mentioning, the kind of participation rate, and it's just about 15% average across assemblies and parliament. So I think that needs a lot of improvement, not just by policy intervention, not just by bringing in an act, but I think it requires social economic empowerment and education also, right from the school level up to the primary, secondary, and the tertiary levels. I think political participation has to be encouraged as an essential feature of your curriculum. It need not be looked upon as something that, oh God, she's in politics, and even in the college level, they fear violence in politics. So I think that's again another area which needs to be looked upon. And I think it's also important now to look at how we can actually train people to become politicians, and not just anybody and everybody entering the political space. It should not be the last resort of anybody in anyone's career space. It has to be something that has to be a choice, a concerted choice. And there are various fields today like public policy, etc., which actually train people to eventually enter the political arena, because after all, it is the political space that actually determines a lot of the governance in the country. It's the minister or it's the prime minister who actually makes policies and programs, and they all come through an electoral process. So I think this whole perception about politics also needs a change, and there needs to be a general safety net for women, I would say, in the political space, and also a kind of hand holding, throughout they're not just for reservations and not just for them to enter the political arena, but also for them to grow in the space, So I think that is something that needs some working in India. And I think internationally, globally as well. Yesterday, there was a TV debate, and so they were saying that globally as well, this kind of a bill is very rare, and we are one of the first few countries to actually bring this in place. But policies definitely make an impact, and people are forced to act as per the bill and the law. But at the same time, there also needs to be socio-economic and educational push from below.